Okay, thank you, Rosemary, and congratulations to all of our global law students. It's now my honor to introduce our keynote speaker, and I suspect there are, some of you way back there who were here just for this reason. I had the great privilege of being in Pasadena on Wednesday afternoon of this week at the WESCO board meeting, where Charlie Munger spoke for 3 hours. A lot of it was Q&A. And there were about 1,000 people there who had come from all over the world, from New Delhi and Delhi and Australia and various parts, just to hear Charlie talk. So it's a tremendous honor and a privilege that we're here presenting Charlie right here on the USC campus. Charlie, as many of you may know, is the vice chairman of Berkshire Hathaway. That is the legendary investment company headed by Warren Buffett. Like Warren, Charlie grew up in Omaha. Charlie's also the chairman of WESCO, which is a subsidiary of Berkshire Hathaway, and he holds an annual meeting every year, and it's open to the public, so hopefully I'll see some of you there next year. It's a lot of fun. Charlie, like Warren, is a native of Omaha. He studied at the University of Michigan and served in the United States Navy before entering Harvard Law School. A little bit of the theme here. Charlie founded and worked as a real estate attorney, actually did some real estate development as well, but he founded and worked as a real estate attorney at the very prestigious, prominent firm of Munger, Tolles, and Olson until 1965, when he left the practice of law and became an investment manager. Now here's a sentence that's kind of standard in Charlie Munger law. Leaving the law was probably the best decision he ever made. So just repeat. Leaving the law was probably the best decision Charlie ever made. He took his legal education, the kind of skills that he learned in law school, and applied it to investing. And today he is listed by Forbes as one of the wealthiest people in the world. So there's hope, if not for you, for your parents and all those people that worked so hard to support you for the last 3 years. Charlie credits much of his success to his favorite pastimes, reading and thinking. One of the lines that Charlie developed in dispensing his wisdom at the WESCO meeting was, if it's wisdom you're after, you're going to spend a lot of time sitting on your ass and reading. That's a quote from Charlie. So read, read, read. Think, think, think. Question, question, question. This is what Charlie is really about. His observations about wealth, business, and life have inspired a near cult of fans. It's true. They wear Charlie Munger shirts and they come to these meetings. It's a spectacular thing to see. Lots of these are gathered up in his book, Poor Charlie's Almanac, which was edited by Peter Kaufman, who's over here, the CEO of Glen Eyre, another USC Trojan, graduate of our business and accounting schools. And get that book. It's a wonderful thing. I can't get a discount. Nobody can get a discount because it's a Charlie Munger book. But it's called Poor Charlie's Almanac, and it's a collection of speeches and witticisms and thoughts that's tremendously powerful. Here's just an example in one of my favorite Mungerisms. Quote, all I want to know, the only thing I want to know is where I'm going to die, so I will never go there. That's just Charlie. Another thing we heard both at WESCO and again this morning we had breakfast with Charlie, which was a lot of fun. But a saying attributed, I think this is from Warren, but take the high road, you'll find it less crowded. So that's the way Charlie thinks. He's a brilliant man. He's been a friend, a mentor throughout the past year. And I'm delighted that we're going to get him to dispense his wisdom as our keynote speaker. So Charlie Munger.
Well, no doubt many of you are wondering why the speaker is so old. Well, the answer is obvious. He hasn't died yet. And why was the speaker chosen? Well, I don't know that either. I like to think that the development department had nothing to do with it. Whatever the reason, I think it's very fitting that I'm sitting here because I see one crowd of faces in the rear not wearing robes, and I know from having educated an army of descendants who really deserves a lot of the honors that are being given to the people up here in front. The sacrifice and the wisdom and the value transfer that comes from one generation to the next can never be underrated. And that gave me enormous pleasure as I looked at this sea of Asian faces to my left. All my life I've admired Confucius. I like the idea of filial piety, the idea that there are values that are taught and duties that come naturally, and that all that should be passed on to the next generation. And you people who don't think there's anything in this idea, please note how fast these Asian faces are rising in American life. I think they have something. All right, I scratched out a few notes, and I'm going to try and just give an account of some ideas and attitudes that have worked well for me. I don't claim that they're perfect for everybody, although I think many of them are pretty close to universal values, and many of them are can't-fail ideas. What are the core ideas that have helped me? Well, luckily, I got at a very early age the idea that the safest way to try and get what you want is to try and deserve what you want. It's such a simple idea. It's the golden rule, so to speak. You want to deliver to the world what you would buy if you were on the other end. There is no ethos, in my opinion, that is better for any lawyer or any other person to have. By and large, the people who've had this ethos win in life, and they don't win just money, just honors and emoluments. They win the respect, the deserved trust of the people they deal with. And there is huge pleasure in life to be obtained from getting deserved trust. And the way to get it is to deliver what you'd want to buy if the circumstances were reversed. Now, occasionally you find a perfect rogue of a person who dies rich and widely known. But mostly these people are fully understood by the surrounding civilization. And when the cathedral is full of people at the funeral ceremony, most of them are there to celebrate the fact that the person is dead. And that reminds me of the story of the time when one of these people died and the minister said, "It's now time for someone to say something nice about the deceased." And nobody came forward. And nobody came forward. And nobody came forward. And finally one man came up and he said, "Well, his brother was worse." That is not where you want to go. That's not the kind of funeral you want to have. You'll leave entirely the wrong example. A second idea that I got very early was that there's no love that's so right as admiration-based love, and that love should include the instructive dead. Somehow I got that idea, and I've